It's better for everyone if you are living unapologetically how you want to, wearing what you want to wear, what you feel most comfortable in, what you feel like you are a powerhouse or whatever, that you're just like enjoying your workout. And enjoy my workout and I feel this way and this is what I'm wearing. That's what's best for everyone. If you do that unapologetically, that's what's best for everyone. Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Thick Thighs Save Lives podcast. I'm Kelsey.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rachel. We're so happy to have you back this week. It's such an exciting and fun time to be sitting with the sisters.
At least we think so.
Have some chats, fireside chats, if you will.
We're going to have some fireside chats over here. That's what we're going to do today.
I saw on your Instagram, sorry to just get right into it, but I haven't seen you since I saw this. I saw on your Instagram that you gave Harley a haircut like you did it.
Yeah, I did it. And honestly, you know, one of those things that you do and then you're like, I'm never doing this again. And then like months go by and you just like have amnesia and then forget. No. Well, sometimes that happens to me, but also like, let me preface this with I moved. So I moved away from our typical groomer where she has her appointments every so often and it's right down the street. So she's in between hairstylists at the moment.
Did you know there's dog groomers like in every town?
Yeah, but the thing is, she really likes Christina. And Harley's like an older. She's a spring chicken, guys. Don't get me wrong, but like, you know, she's a little bit older and she's kind of particular about who she's around.
Then you know you can drive her to Christina.
Yeah, it's just like 45 minutes one way for sure.
I'm going to ask you how long that haircut took you because I saw the carnage that took place and I was like,
shaved the sheep. It was serious.
Even the cleanup of that.
Yeah, I'm going to be finding hair probably for the rest of my life.
I gotta assume
the rest of my life. The pants that I was wearing, like I look like a Chewbacca going around because like they got so like embedded in the fabric that
just throw
like,
it out.
Honestly, they're not even my pants. And I looked at them and I was like, would this person miss them if I just threw these pants out? Because these are goners.
So wait a minute, you decided to shave your dog and you were so disrespectful that you didn't even wear your own pants?
They were just sweatpants I had on and it was a spur of the moment because I was like, it's springtime here in New England.
Just sweatpants you had on? Is that's what you're going to say about it?
Just the sweatpants I had on.
Are they mine?
No, they're not yours. I wouldn't do that to you.
Better not be.
But here's the thing. In the springtime, like if anyone has a dog that has like kind of long hair, you know, in the springtime it starts to get muddy. Like you go outside and you come back with just a mud ball. And like you can't even, when her hair is long, she got little Grinch feet. Like to get the mud out of all of that fur is impossible. So like she's got to have short hair.
Listen, I'm not against the haircut. I'm against the fact that you did the haircut.
Yeah, it took way too long. And I was like bending over the whole time. Because, you know, like it's just, and then you got to wrestle her in.
It looked horrible. And I was like, I don't know what kind of masochistic behavior it is to give your own dog a haircut. Like there's professionals for that. I'm a very big believer in like,
you are, yeah.
Is there a professional that can do this in appropriate amounts of time with the tools?
Yeah, because they don't have to bend over the whole time. They have a raised thing, so they're standing up, like they're upright, and they can shave them. Where like I'm in a bathtub, being like, give me that leg.
And there's no way that they wear like a new guy in their life sweatpants to do it. Like they have appropriate clothing. They're not ruining people's favorite sweatpants.
Oh my, This was nobody's favorite sweatpants. These are old sweatpants. Relax about the sweatpants.
I'm just busting your
They could
balls.
go missing and no one would ever notice.
Oh, and they did. They're in the trash can.
Because they're never gonna, they're Chewbacca pants now. They're never gonna come,
Just let
because
them
then
go.
it's gonna, okay, now they go in the wash machine, right? And now all the fur is in there. Like
Oh no, you don't do that. No,
it's
that's
a
a bad
whole
idea.
thing. Now you're cleaning out your
Right in the
washing
trash.
machine for the rest 3 months, the next 5, 6 months, year, even.
You gotta move. You just have to move.
You
And
gotta move.
washing machine, this is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, next time you think about that, you call me. And
Yeah.
I'll remind you about your amnesia.
Yeah, that this is not a good idea. Halfway through, I was like, why'd I do this?
You call me.
But why?
You call me.
And then it
So-
was too late, right? Like,
Yeah, because then, well, I mean, I guess you can stop halfway, but I mean, then it's just that embarrassment. So it's just
too late.
what else is going on this week? What's happening? What's your gym life? What's going on? You got big things. I did Grace this week.
Rachel did Grace this week.
always a fun
That's
one.
such an exciting workout.
I mean, exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think Grace is 30 clean and jerks for time, for you guys who don't know. And our TTSL members did that this week along with some running. I do want to say, so my dad follows TTSL, my mom follows TTSL, everybody who's in my family does TTSL. Okay. It's one of those things where like, yeah, everyone just does it. And so my dad was doing TTSL. He was doing his running portion last night. And Isley she listens to murder podcasts. And when she hears a good one, she's got to tell everyone about it. And she's real graphic with it and really scars me for life. And it was about Hannibal. I'm not even going to tell you guys because I don't want to scar you the way she like scars me without even warning me or asking me if I have space for like cannibalism. I was like, wait a minute. I'm doing with Hannibal Lecter as like cannibalism. And like you gotta ask someone if they have space for that.
Yeah, no, you don't just come at somebody with cannibalism stories.
So
you don't
like,
just.
Yeah, she's like telling this story, and poor Joe is running his 800s over there and having to listen. It's very graphic. He ends it. He was like, was there another time that story would have been Joel?
Let him know, Joe. I like that he lets her know. Like, you gotta let she's really something else. I also have like a whole thing about like, why are we listening? I don't know. I know it's a thing, and I get that
women are more likely to listen to murder podcasts. They are the demographic that's listening to murder podcasts.
Which is ironic because aren't women more likely to be murdered?
100%.
So
the majority of the stories are about murders of women. And the statistics say, I don't know, I think I heard this from Mark, so you probably don't know it, that women listen to those because they'd like to look for the telltale signs.
That like as in a learning experience.
Situations. Yeah, subconsciously, apparently that's what they're looking for. But honestly, I would argue with Isley, with some of the choices she's made.
Despite all the murder podcasts she listens to?
That's what I'm saying. Like one time I was like, she was telling me about like, going out into the wilderness. And I was like, this sounds like the start of one of your murder podcasts. Does this sound like a familiar story to you?
Are you the main character in your murder podcast right now? Can we just, what is the point in listening if you're not learning all the things not to do?
Yeah. And then as practice into your life, don't do those things.
I don't know.
You know what to look for.
I definitely get the draw. It's kind of like the same reason people watch horror movies, and like I get that some people enjoy being frightened. Not me though.
I actually don't seek out that emotion at all. I
actually avoid it at all costs.
Yeah. I do understand.
Yell.
Guys, do you seek out, I want to hear from our listeners too. Like, do you seek out like horror movies, like feeling that type of fear? Like, do you seek that out? And maybe
why?
Yeah.
I yell at my own husband for
Mm.
existing in my house that we share together if he walks too quietly and sneaks up on me.
Yeah.
I've screamed at him
100%.
like, get out of here and don't come back. He knows he'll like, if he's coming up the stairs and stuff, he'll like walk like in a way that's so inappropriate for like he doesn't need to clomp up and down the stairs, but he does it and says when he's around the corner, it's just me.
Guys,
It's
I've
just me,
entered
the guy who
Rachel's
lives
house.
here.
Yeah, like I've entered Rachel's house and it's become a thing. I'm like, Kelsey's here because I've come in before and scared the shit out of people by just like being in the living room.
Yeah, because you know the door code, so you just come in, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know you're coming, and like,
Yeah.
don't. No. And I know that he lives there, but I still feel as if why are you sneaking around?
Honestly, so when I lived with another person, I said, "Why did you do that?" And he was like, "Walk into the room."
Don't startle me. I don't
I was
like
like,
being startled.
"Well, don't walk like that."
Walk different. Announce
Louder.
yourself.
Make yourself known. But like that was my first response was like, "Why did you do that?" And he was like, "What did I actually do?"
I definitely avoid the startled, scared, at all costs. So no, I would not be listening to any murder podcast. And if she tried that shit when I was dying on the air runner, which by the way, so happy we got that. Wicked glad that we made that decision because that is an excellent running tool. I want to say
Yeah.
I run like an absolute idiot. I'm a horrible runner. I have terrible form. I'm working on it. We're in the midst of a run cycle and I'm working on it. But I want to say one thing. I give myself my cues when I'm outside of like the one cue that I always fall back on is like forward lean, Rachel, because I have the tendency to like once I get tired, I start just like
Leaning back and shuffle.
and I'm like looking at the clouds and my mouth is open. I
Your
mean, like it's
mouth
a
is definitely
whole
open.
scene.
I'm like,
So
what's she trying to do? Catch some things? She's just getting protein if she comes on by.
just a little snack to keep me going. But I don't, lean forward so that I'm not propelling myself. So I'm literally just shuffling in the one spot. And I'm like, oh, I've seen that tree before. Wait a minute. So like on the air runner, it won't go if you don't lean forward. So
Mhm.
like several times during my runs yesterday, I was like falling into my old habit and like the air runner was like slowing to a stop because it you have to actually run well if you want to propel that thing. I'm like so happy with it. But oh my God. Also, like from last week's imbalances episode, holy freaking hamstring imbalance. I'm just running with my quads. When you run on the air runner, you have to actually like pull
Yeah,
you're
so you
pulling the
can't do that.
treads.
Mhm.
You can't pull them with your quads. You have to pull them with your hamstrings. My hamstrings were so lit up after those runs, and I never have hamstring pain or burning when I'm running. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm a whole ass scene, but I'm gonna get better on that air runner. I feel really good about it.
Yeah, I found that the first time I went on one of the runners, I was like, wow, my hamstrings are lit, and I am a fairly good runner. But I had previously kind of always gotten some knee pain when I was running, and it was because my strike was really off. And I learned that when I was forced to kind of look at my running technique by being on the runner, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool, got it.
Such a good tool. Such a
Mm-hmm.
good. I mean, obviously, I prefer to run outside just because
Yes,
like there's fresh air
when
and
we
nature
can.
and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like we're on the third floor, so like there is no chance. And I do really like the idea of a tool that helps you to be better at running while you're running. It's just like that's a really cool thing, and you can give yourself all those cues. But like at a certain point, I get tired and I just start leaning back. So I'm really excited. I mean, I'm not excited because it's running,
Yeah, but as
but
excited as you can be when you get a new tool, like when you get new leggings, then you're like, okay, I'm a little more excited to go to the gym today
it's
because
a PR
I
day.
got my outfit.
It's true.
And we have switched over to short season over here in Massachusetts. Not everyone has. Josh was the first; he's the pioneer. on that. And then, shortly after, I said, I'm switching over to shorts. And
Just
what
for
did
your
I switch over?
workouts. You're not
Just for my
walking
workouts.
around.
No,
Yeah.
no, because actually run very cold, but I prefer to work out in shorts, hands down, no questions asked. If it was warm enough here year round, and even sometimes in the winter times, I do it, and it's like 30 degrees out, guys. Because I prefer to work out in shorts, and
Free the
it was an
quads.
free the quads. My legs just feel better. Like I just feel freer. I just like it's like that everyone has their preference for how they feel the most comfortable working out and like what they feel the most comfortable working out in. And mine is shorts. And this was an interesting thing that I was thinking about when we had hit pandemic life and how much even I had adjusted what I was comfortable working out in because there was other people there, like what was appropriate, what were other people more comfortable with, those thoughts when the pandemic hit and I was working out every day by myself or just with Isaiah or my dad. The rules didn't apply anymore. The rules were out the window because there was no one else coming. There's no one coming. And I kind of learned some things about myself and how those thoughts, even though I thought I was completely immune to them, were kind of coming in and how I was letting them affect what I was wearing to the gym and how I was working out. And even some of those were, you wear shorts for attention or to show off or some of the things like that. These are the thoughts we kind of put in our own heads, or maybe they've been said to us, where we let it affect what we are actually more comfortable working out in. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I had asked on our TikTok, what people preferred to work out in, leggings or shorts. And a lot of people said, when I work out at home, I prefer to work out in shorts. And I was like, that's interesting. And some women said, I prefer to work out in shorts, but it's better for everyone else if I work out in pants. And that one hit me in the feels,
Oh, that just hurts. That hurts so bad.
right? Because I was like, there's a lot to unpack there.
It's better for everyone if you are in the best case scenario that you could possibly be. Like,
It's
say this.
better for everyone if you are living unapologetically how you want to, wearing what you want to wear, what you feel most comfortable in, what you feel like you are a powerhouse or whatever, that you're just like enjoying your workout. And I enjoy my workout and I feel this way and this is what I'm wearing. That's what's best for everyone. If you do that unapologetically, that's what's best for everyone.
You're always going to be presenting your best self to the world 10 times out of 10 in that scenario. And the self that you're presenting to the world when you walk in kind of with an outfit that you're not really that comfortable in, that you wore for other people, that just, it displays itself in all of your interactions. And it's just, it has that falsity all the time behind everything that you say and behind everything that you do. Is just, it's a little bit too scared. I think it's fearful, it's false, it's, I don't know, it seems like just a small thing. Like,
It always seems like a small thing, but everything that we do, I always think about, and I know this has come out in other podcasts, but I always think about what the ripple effect is of what we do with ourselves, how that affects other people, how that presents to the world. And the world that I see and that I would love for women is for them to have the confidence and the ability to show up and wear whatever the hell they wanted to that day, and show up and say, like, I am unapologetically me in whatever that looks like for them. And for me personally, I try to show up as that myself because that's what I want to see for the world. So I feel more comfortable in shorts, and I'm not going to water that down so that other people feel better, so that they feel more comfortable, because the more times that I show up unapologetically me, I'm giving someone else permission to do the same.
that's so powerful. And it's, we've said this a couple times. that it's always a good gauge to test out what you're saying if you would say it to your daughter or a younger version of yourself or a little girl even that you don't even know. If you don't feel comfortable saying in front of a little girl, you know what, it's better for everyone if mommy just wears pants because ew, right?
Mhm.
If you don't, if you see the harm that that could do on a young, impressionable girl, just think of what that's doing to you
Mm,
because you are still that girl. You are still hearing those words. And it, again, that's not the life that you want her to live. That's not the boundaries that you want her to live within. And that shouldn't be, if that's not what you want for the future generation, for your daughters, for your nieces, if that's not what you want for them, then you got to pave the way, right? I mean, it's hard. It's hard to be the
mm,
paver. It's much easier to walk on the flat road, right? But like, that's what we want for them.
mhm.
So, like, get out the bulldozers, girls. And, we've seen this start a little bit in the group where it's heating up some places and some people are there was a post the other day in our Facebook group where a woman was like, I wore shorts to the gym today and I took a video of myself doing pull-ups and I had such a hard time because all I could do was stare at the back of my legs and be like, okay, there I can see the bumps, everybody can see the bumps, nobody wants to look at this. It's totally distracting me from watching the video of my pull-ups. And I thought that you had a really great and insightful response to that because I know that this has happened to you. You film a lot of what you do in the gym. You are out there a lot in shorts and, being photographed in shorts and being in videos and all of these things. And I thought that your response to this was really good because you have so much experience in this area. But I think it's also important to remember that, like, you still experience those insecurities where you watch a video back and say what happened to you when you were training for Wadapalooza.
Yeah, well, I think this is such an important conversation because how other people see us is irrelevant to how we see ourselves. So, when I saw the video of that girl doing pull-ups, I saw the incredible strength that she was displaying, the control over her pull-ups. I was in awe of what she was doing, and what she saw was her imperfections. And I could really relate to that because, when I was training for Wadapalooza, I took a video a couple weeks before I went and I was doing thrusters and the video was from behind and I was wearing shorts. And immediately all I could see was cellulite on my legs. And I was hyper focused on that when the point of my video was to kind of look at the speed of my thrusters and to see the speed of my burpees and my transition time. Like that was the purpose of my video. But when I watched it back, all I could see was the imperfections in my body. And I was immediately very judgmental towards myself about that because I said, how can you talk to thousands of women all the time about not doing the exact same thing that you're doing right now? Are you an imposter? Are you a hypocrite? Are you all of these things? I had to
Here
sit
comes
with
the
that.
fraud.
Here comes the fraud. Here comes the
Mhm.
imposter syndrome, right? And I was, I had to sit with that for a minute and kind of unpack what was I really asking there? What was I really looking for when I pulled apart all of the imperfections in my body? And what I came out with was this was a couple weeks before going to Wadapalooza. And I was feeling like I wasn't fit enough. I didn't look like the other athletes that were going, and that I wasn't essentially good enough to have qualified to go. And I was just lucky to be there. And like when I'm watching a video back, so if that's what's going on in my mind, I'm looking for evidence to support that. So if I'm thinking to myself, you're not fit enough, you're not a good enough athlete to be going to this international competition, and I'm watching a video of myself weeks before and looking for the reasons why I'm not. You're not because you have cellulite on your legs. Elite athletes don't have cellulite. Look at you. This is what you have. And when I really unpacked that and thought of what that was like for me, I was looking for reasons why I wasn't good enough. And I think a lot of women, regardless of, what they have coming up or what they're looking for in their videos, they're looking for evidence to support what they already think in their minds. And that is, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not an athlete. I am, whatever the thoughts are that might come into your mind of your insecurities. And
It's
then
confirmation bias.
confirmation bias. And then your mind, it's going to look for that evidence. It's regardless of how strong my freaking thrusters looked that day, I couldn't even see them. They were very fast. I couldn't even see them because all I could see was the loud insecurities and finding the evidence.
I mean, it's so powerful when you really get down to it and you say, I'm gonna look beyond the obvious here, which is, do I have cellulite on my legs? Yes. Can you see them in this video? Yes. Like these things are real, but I think that what really puts you on a next level of self-awareness and understanding and self-improvement is saying to yourself, but why though? Why is that the focus here? And just learning and growing to just recognize the things that are actually behind the tearing down of yourself, because there's always things that are behind that, secret things that are lurking, that are saying like, if you don't solve me, I
Mm,
will come out in ways of, here, you can't even watch this video without
mhm,
self-loathing. Here you
mhm,
go. Have fun with that. And it's these things that need to be solved before we can really move on with our lives. And that needed to be addressed. You needed to sit down with yourself and say, I need to look at the fact that I am having all this imposter syndrome about qualifying for Wadapalooza and being there and what I look like and what I look like compared to everybody else. And if I belong, and I need to address that. And then all of a sudden, all the other things will fall into place once I address that thing. But if it just is allowed to sit there and linger and grow, and then there's going to be other things, right? That was just the first thing. That little, oh, you got cellulite in your video. Look at you, you faker. Then there was going to be interactions with people that were going to suffer. And then there was going to be, it absolutely was going to make it all the way into how you performed at that competition.
mhm.
If it was not solved, it was going to grow into this giant monster. And I think that that's where a lot of us are, where it's kind of grown into this giant monster where it has its own life and it seems to be just part of our personality and embedded. I'm just not confident. I just
Mm.
don't have that in me, right? I'm just not that type of person. And we've written this story, but like it was really just because there was something somewhere that wasn't addressed. And now it's become this personality trait when really we got to just get back to the basics.
Well, we kind of shy away from some of that growth when we're presented with that challenging thought, right? So sometimes we just look back at that video and we see the cellulite and we see the, all of the imperfections, and then we say, "Well, I'm not going to wear shorts anymore, and I'm not going to video myself, or I'm not going to go to the gym 'cause I don't even want to see that. That was a bad experience for me." Instead of really noticing those times of discomfort as opportunities to grow and think about what that means to you, what's hiding under there, what does that mean about how I think about myself, and is that how I want to live in this world? Is that how I want to continue? For me, is that how I want to continue competing like I don't belong here? Is that how I want to show up every time?
Well, it's like you can recognize what you're looking at, but recognizing why you are looking for that thing
Mm.
Why is it the first thing to jump out and be noticed? Is it actually because it's the most noticeable thing in the video? Because I will tell you from a standpoint of seeing the video that you're talking about and also seeing this video of the woman doing pull-ups in our group and
Mm.
basically any other video where somebody, it says, oh, the first thing I see is, or I'm picking this part, whatever. That is not the first thing I saw.
Mm.
Actually, it was so low down on the list that probably I wouldn't have even noticed it. So it's not that it's the most obvious thing in the video. It's that it's the first thing you're looking for. And I think that recognizing that that is a bias and also recognizing that we want to unpack why we're looking for that,
Mm.
why we're seeing that first. I think that that makes the biggest difference because that really is where like self discovery kind of comes and like the journey kind of gets real big, where we make it about more than cellulite because you know what? It's always more than cellulite.
It's always more than cellulite. I'm so glad. I'm so happy with how you put that because it's always more than that. And there's always so much more to unpack there. And instead of you know, leaving that discomfort that we're feeling, we can really look at the lens that we're looking at ourselves through and adjust the lens. And I think some of the first steps for a lot of women is to, okay, so you notice that thing that you're looking for, your confirmation bias. You look at the thing that you're going to pull your body apart. But instead, why can't we meet that thought with something great that you see in that video? Something that you see that's strong, something that you see that's resilient. And I always, I see women in our group doing incredible things every day. And some of that is just starting out from a place where they haven't worked out in a while and they went on their first walk and they take their little selfie at the end. And I'm like, you started some momentum. And I see like, it's just like a light. You know what I mean? I
So
see it.
brave.
Yeah,
So
I'm like,
brave.
you're so brave. You've started a really hard thing, and that's the lens I'm seeing you through. And I wish sometimes that they could stop and see that lens, just like peek through it, because they're looking at all of the negative things that they see about themselves and then amplifying that back. And a lot of women who have been in our group for a long time have said things like, you guys have helped me realize my strength and my power and blah blah blah. And we've said back to you so many times, that was all right there. That was all within you. That was all you. Maybe we picked up the mirror so you
That's
could
it.
see yourselves, but we just picked up the mirror. That was all you. You came and you stuck with your workouts. You came and you wore the damn shorts. You came and showed up as the unapologetic woman that you are. And we're just there to pick up the mirror and maybe amplify it a little bit. Like that, though, all the work was all you. And you are
Seriously.
so brave for starting and showing up. And I'm in awe of your bravery.
I always come back to the mirror and the fact that nobody gave you anything. We only
Mm-mm.
showed you what was there all along. And that really goes to support the fact of like, you know what? Did you lose a whole bunch of cellulite? Is that why you're not seeing that as the first thing in the videos anymore? No, that's not why.
Mm-mm.
Why is because the lens that you're looking through is different. And you know who changed that lens? You did. You changed it and you did the hard work that was involved in changing it. And met those negative thoughts with resistance every single day and said, okay, I see the cellulite, I do, but I also
Mm-hmm.
see a woman doing pull-ups and I'm just balancing it out here, just balancing it out. If
Yeah.
I'm going to point out the cellulite, I'm also going to point out the fact that that's a woman in the gym today who did a full 8-hour workday and was really tired and didn't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Just balancing it out here. And the more that you start to do that, and the more you ask questions about, why am I trying to why am I trying to disprove myself right now? Why am I trying to tear myself down? What am I actually trying to say here? Where is the unhappiness actually lying? Because it's not cellulite. And then we get there and then it's like, wow, that mirror just looks so different. Even though the person looking back is the same person. You know what I mean? Like you don't look so different, but like it's just a different lens. And as we get into the season of what should I be wearing and what will other people think if I wear this and what looks good, quote unquote, or what's appropriate, or, bathing suits. And as we get into all of that, it's the same thing every single year, which is the way that you look is 100% perception. And I just, you're right. Like, I wish you could see the way that you look from the people that love you and the people that admire you, or even just straight up strangers. Because they've
Mm,
done studies where they've said, I want you to list all of the things that you're worried about when you're wearing this or when you're presenting to the world, whatever. And then they've gone to strangers and they said, like, list all of the things you first noticed about this person. And the lists never, ever match up.
mm.
Ever. So it's like, I don't know. I just think it's a good reminder that all of those things are really coming from within you and they're changeable.
Yeah. I also just like, noticing that this is a journey and there is no destination to it. Am I going to say that every podcast? I don't know. But the
Just keep
fact
getting
that
truer.
it's the fact that we can have these bumps in the road where, I can look at myself and be like, you are completely at peace with your body, and then have this experience where I see something very similar. And I'm like, well, what does that make you? I just want to normalize the fact that we can have those times where we are pulling ourselves apart, where we are looking at these things through a lens that is undesirable for us. And we have these little setbacks. But it's we're never going to be totally out of that. We've had years and years and years of conditioning to look at imperfections. We know the brain is looking for confirmation for whatever it is we're thinking. We know that, an underlying factor for a lot of women is a message that we are not enough. We are not enough of something, fill in the fucking blank, because society is, and it has an endless list for us. But we know that we're going to look towards those. So when that happens to you, don't do what I did. And immediately go to, well, what are you now? You're an imposter. You're pulling yourself apart. You're doing all of these other things, because then you're still going down that hole. And maybe ask, why, and notice that, like, it's okay that I had those thoughts in that moment, and that, I had that moment where it felt like a weakness was exposed, because those are important times in my life, and I'm never going to be done with them, because I'm not ever done growing. I'm not ever done, learning and continuing to grow as a person. And I'm not going to miss those opportunities for growth.
Dude, right? Normalize bad days,
Yeah.
normalize bumps in the road. And you know what? I don't know. I just think, like, the more that we can remind ourselves, you have thoughts, you are not your thoughts, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
have
Right?
thoughts,
Oh, good one.
but you are not your thoughts. So, like, because you had those thoughts does not mean that you are all of a sudden an imposter, or it doesn't mean that that's part of your personality now, or any of that. Those are your thoughts and they are not who you are. So just recognize them, let them come in like waves and ebbs and flows, and say, like, I see you here. And it's like, but that's not who I am.
That's not who I'm going to be. And I'm going to continue to work on being the person that I've decided I am. And like sometimes, like, I know I'm aggressive with my thoughts, but like I meet that with like, okay, that's interesting, but like I've decided what my story is going to be, and it's going to be that I am good enough to be here. That I've earned my spot, and I'm showing up, and I'm enough. I'm enough of a woman just as I am.
And you walked into that competition with all of the nerves and with all of, and those things are all so normal and so necessary. But you know what? You performed like you belonged there. You freaking hit a PR clean and jerk. It's like, these things are just part of the journey and they are so important. And without them, it just, Linear
Well, because
success isn't a
you know
thing.
what that is though, right? Like, you know what that is? You have these, these insecurities, these nerves, and this fear of what's going to happen, and if it's going to be true, if you're going to show up and you're not going to be good enough, and all of that is so real when you show up. But the fact is that you show up scared and you show up anyway. And for me, like, that is something that's very important to me in my life, that when I am scared or I'm nervous about something that I'm not going to be good enough for, is that I just show up. And every time I do, I think I grow as a person, and say, like, I was terrified walking out there that I was just not good enough and everyone was going to know about it. Like, spotlight on, here you are, not good enough. Let's broadcast it. But I'm going to show up anyway. And I
That's
think, like,
cool.
on another scale for everyone, is like that you are scared to wear the damn shorts and you show up in them anyway. And every time you do, it gets a little bit easier.
It really gets a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Just trust on this one. And it transcends shorts. It
Yeah.
transcends cellulite. It's always more than that. But that is a really important first step. So dust off your shorts, dust off your skirts, dust off
Mm.
whatever the hell you feel comfortable in warm weather. Dust off your damn bathing suits, your bikinis if you want to, and go freaking get it, because every single time you practice that, you get closer to a life that you really want to live. And that is freaking everything.
Freedom.
We love you. Freedom. Go get it.